get started anyway, we'll dive into it. So this, I suppose, whole kind of training I put together is very much there to kind of teach you how to boost your motivation, how to create a solid plan for yourself. And then at the end, we'll kind of dive into a bit more about nutrition and focus on what kind of foods you should be eating in order to get to where you want to be. And I suppose the reason for putting this together is because I've been kind of chatting to a lot of people at the moment, and motivation seems to be the number one thing that stops people or holds people back. I find that a lot of people know what to do, but it's just that something is stopping them from actually taking action and moving forward. So that was kind of the whole idea of putting this together, just to have, I suppose, a tool to kind of help people kind of overcome those barriers and move forward. So that's kind of what we'll be diving into today. As I said, if you have any kind of questions along the way, feel free to shout out, but we will be going through a couple of different exercises as well as we're moving forward. So just kind of, I suppose, share just a little bit about my journey. And even though you can see a clear transformation there, but to be honest, the biggest transformation for me was internally. Because in that first picture, the before picture, that was a time in my life where I absolutely hated who I was, hated how I looked. I was suffering really bad with my mental health, going through depression, anxiety. I was even so bad that I was suicidal at the time. And I was, on top of it, I was going to live in a poor lifestyle. I was drinking constantly. I was just eating shit food all the time. So for me, it was basically just digging a deeper hole for myself constantly. And what really helped me progress and move forward was training. And it was at that time, I was in Tenerife actually, and I was working in a bar, and my boss there said to me one day, he goes, "Do you want to come to the gym with him?" And to be honest, he kind of said it as a joke, because he kind of seen how I was, that I wasn't anyway into fitness or health or anything like that. But I think he kind of said it as a joke, and I said, "Right, you know what, I want to go." And because I was in such a bad place at the moment, at that time, when I went to the gym and I kind of pushed myself, it'll just allow me to kind of unleash all an anger, frustration, fear, everything that had kind of built up inside me. I just felt like this was a way to, as an easy release for myself. So that's kind of why I got hooked on it. And I just, ever since that day, I've never looked back on it. So it's been absolutely an incredible journey for myself. And it's really kind of taught me so much about myself. And like, for me, it's not about what you can see and before and after, but it's how you feel in yourself. And then obviously over the last kind of, I suppose, 16 years or so now, I've worked with lots of different people all over the place. And I suppose this is a picture now that I was recently back during the summer, when we got a big group of my clients together and we just did a big workout down the park. So it's just really inspiring to be part of other people's journeys and help other people progress and move forward, because it's had such a positive impact on my life that I know it can have such a positive impact on other people. And that's why I'm really kind of passionate about the whole kind of fitness and helping other people progress and move forward. So,
mind me asking, Stephen?
Yeah,
do you still drink or do drugs?
I do.
You do, yeah.
I do. I'm very much about having a proper balance. And for me, that it wasn't about saying, right, I have to give up this or I have to give up that. It's about doing things in moderation.
Yeah.
So I enjoy a drink at the weekend. I'd probably have a takeaway nearly every weekend as well. But for me, I've kind of created the right balance for myself, that I know that I have to get my training sessions in every week. I have to, like Monday to Friday, I have to eat really clean, because if I don't, I'm going to start falling back into that rut that I was before.
Yeah, I'm in recovery now, so like I'm be going off drink and everything else completely, like, you know, so looking to go.
Fair play to you. And obviously, like, it depends on you and it depends on your personality.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously, for someone that, like, for you, if you're going into recovery and stuff like that, if you were to go back drinking and stuff like that, then you probably fall into that hole pretty quick again.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, when I kind of first started and I was drinking all the time and I was just eating shit food and I was kind of falling into that hole, I was just in a really bad place. And for me, it wasn't that I had to be drinking all the time. I wasn't addicted to it or anything. I just enjoyed doing it, and I did it too much. Whereas I have full control to be able to stop doing anything whenever I want to. And I think that's the most important thing, is having that balance with yourself. So like I'd always say to people that it's not about trying to give up things that you enjoy, but obviously you need to have full control over it. And that if you can just go out on the weekend, have a couple of drinks, enjoy yourself, whatever, but then the next day you pick yourself straight back up and you're back on track again. But if you can't do that, then obviously it's not really the path for you right now, and things you probably need to be starting to work on.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. So the first thing, so I suppose, is focusing on how to boost your motivation to get back on track. Because at the end of the day, that's one of the biggest things that holds a lot of people back. And I suppose one thing to realize is that motivation comes from within. And it really comes down to creating a burning desire to want more in our lives. And once you do that, that's when you become unstoppable. So it's all good saying, right, I just want to lose weight or whatever, but that's not really creating a burning desire for you. And I think this is another reason why people will go on, say, a 6-week program or 12-week program, they'll lose weight and then they just fall back into that rut again, is because they haven't dug deep enough to figure out what it is that they truly want in themselves. They don't have that burning desire to look at that, something that's going to pull them long term rather than just focusing on this quick little fix moving forward. And I suppose when we kind of understand the barriers that's stopping our motivation, it's so much easier then to progress and move forward. So like I said, there are people, a lot of people I speak to anyway have been on this journey of, yeah, they'll go do really well and then they'll fall off track. They'll get back on track again and they go doing really well and they fall off track again. And generally it's triggers that set them off. So what I mean by triggers is, let's say, for example, someone's doing really well and they go on holidays then for 2 weeks. And on that 2 weeks, they're drinking every day, they're eating shittier foods, they're not moving as much. And that's when their energy levels start to drop, and they find it hard then to kind of get back to where they were when they come back. So that's what kind of dampens their motivation. Other things then, it could be lifestyle stuff, people getting injured and stuff like that, and it knocks them right back. It could be work, it could be kids, it could be other stresses in their life. And another thing that stops people as well is when they lose focus, like as in if they're not seeing results in themselves, and they might start, I suppose, having self-doubt, saying, right, maybe this isn't for me, maybe it's not going to help me, and then they just end up losing motivation there. Does that kind of make sense?
Definitely. It's happened to me multiple times. Like, I'm keeping that discipline, like, and yeah, I've just fallen off so many times. So I think a lot of it for me is to do with, drinking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it puts me into, bad mental headspace, like, depression and anxiety and stuff, like. So as long as I can keep off that and, focus on my goal, like, I think I'll be okay, like.
Yeah, no, 100%. And once, I suppose, you have a strong enough goal that'll pull you forward, it's so much easier to stay on track. So obviously then when you're unmotivated, it affects your stress levels, your energy levels, you feel fatigued, you can be frustrated about it, you get angry, unhappy. So you just go into these mixed emotions of different things, and it can really get in your way. And generally when you're in this kind of situation, you try to fight against it, you're putting up a lot of resistance. Whereas in order to overcome these different challenges that you're going through, a lot of times it's just about stepping back. And when we kind of step back, it can give us a broader picture about what's actually happening. So instead of being stressed and tired all the time and then just constantly keep on going and going and going, and until we end up hitting a wall, that we need to kind of take a step back and just ask ourselves, okay, what changes can we start to make right now? And it comes back to what I was saying a minute ago, what are the goals that we really want to be able to achieve? So like I said, when you kind of find something that's important to you, it's a lot easier to kind of stay on track. And I suppose something to remember as well is that when you're in this cycle, that if nothing changes, then nothing will change. So if you keep doing the same thing and you're stressed and you're fatigued and frustrated and all this kind of stuff, and you keep doing the same thing, you're just going to stay there. So you need to take that step back and ask yourself, what other path can you start to take? What are other things you can start to implement in your life that will allow you to take better steps in moving forward? And obviously as well, when you start to take different steps and you start doing different things, you're going to get a different result. because you're not constantly repeating yourself over and over. So next thing then is just, I suppose, looking at different strategies. And the number one strategy is about, I suppose, finding your why. So finding that deeper motivation, finding something that's going to actually push you forward. And once we kind of have that, what we want to do then is we want to, I suppose, create a visualization, whether that's kind of, you could have like a vision board that you create, you can just create it inside your own mind. And you just want something that you can kind of visually see within your own mind, or have it up on a wall, or going like, this is what I want to work towards. This is, and it's just a constant reminder to keep you moving forward. And then as we're moving forward, I think it's important then to be able to celebrate small wins along the way, just to kind of see your progress, and just to kind of remind yourself, you know, what you're doing is starting to work, and also as well to remind yourself where you were before. And I suppose that was a big thing for me on my journey. Like when I look back now, like I don't like all the stuff that I've been through and how I felt and everything. I feel like it wasn't even real, that I'm gone so far ahead and beyond it all. And then another thing is going to be about using positive self-talk and affirmations. And the reason, and we'll go into that now a little bit more, but using, I suppose, positive self-talk, it's another thing to help reframe your thinking, especially towards yourself. So when we, suppose, looking at our why, we're looking at the reason why we want to do something, it's going to be really important that we kind of dig deep here. And I was trying to think of a couple of things that where people will have motivation to do it regardless of what's happening. And what I was thinking about earlier, just like if you have kids now, this is something that if you were to say if you have a young child, so my daughter now, she's 5, if I dropped her off to school, like no matter what, I pick her up from school. And the motivation for picking her up from school is a lot deeper than anything to do with me. It's to do with how she would feel if I wasn't there to pick her up, if that makes sense. So obviously then she'd feel lonely, she'd feel lost, she could feel scared. So the motivation to do that would always be there. And when I'm saying that is that we need to look for a deeper motivation in ourselves to be able to actually do something. Does that make sense?
Big time, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, and then I was even thinking that if you were to say to a parent, look, oh, it's lashing rain outside, it's freezing cold, you're still going to pick up your child? Of course you are. You're not even going to second guess that. You're just going to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way to be thinking about ourselves as well. That once we find that specific driver that can help us progress and move forward, we need to be able to do it regardless of what else is happening around us. So I put that in there is because you get a lot of people say, oh, I'm not going to bother going to the gym today. Oh, it's lashing rain. I'm probably going to get soaked now even going out to the car. You know, so it's trying to look above and beyond of what's happening right now and focus on why you want to do it. So from there, I just wanted to focus on now is, I suppose, looking at your why and looking at, if you were to become your own superhero, what would that look like? As in, who would you need to become? What would you need to do different? How would you show up, say, on a daily basis? And so this is actually the first kind of exercise I want you to do. And it's just writing down and asking yourself the question, who is your superhero self? So if you can write down a list of maybe 4, 5, 6 things of, if you were able to step into the shoes of your superhero self, what would that look like? As in, what time would they get up in the morning? What would their meals look like each day? What would they do for activity? How would they feel each day? So if you just want to take 2 minutes just to try and answer those questions for yourself, and ask yourself, like, who is it that you really want to become? So like I was saying there, it's like asking yourself, okay, what do they do different than you're doing now? What do they look like? How do they feel about themselves, say, when they look in the mirror? What time do they get out of bed? What would they kind of eat on a daily basis? What kind of activities would they do each week? What would they do for fun? So just see if you can come up with a list of a few different things, basically answering those questions.
Cool.
And I suppose the reason for doing this as well, it's about helping you think above and beyond where you're at this very moment. Because I know, like for me, when I was back in that place where I was before and I was struggling and everything, I found it so hard to see above and beyond where I'm at right now. I just felt like I was in this kind of cocoon, I suppose, and I never knew what I was capable of or where I could actually go myself. But once you start basically like even writing it down, putting pen to paper and starting putting these things, writing these things down, straight away, these things are going to start to be set inside your subconscious. And what you can do then is you can automatically start thinking of ways, okay, cool, how can I actually get to that place where I feel that my superhero self is right now? And then it's just going to be coming down to taking those steps to moving forward. Have you got a couple of things written down?
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you want to share any, or do you want to keep it yourselves? It's up to you.
I just said I'm going to get back doing what I know that I'm capable of doing, because when I was with yourself a couple of months back, I know I'm well able to do it.
Yeah.
I just have got lazy, and as you said, motivation isn't there. I'm bringing the gym bag with me in the evenings, bringing it back home with me. Then the guilt starts kicking in.
Yeah.
And I just need to get back doing what I know I can do.
Yeah. No, 100%. And obviously when you were doing that before, you were absolutely smashing it.
Mm-hmm.
You were doing incredible. So I think as well, it's about making a commitment to yourself. So that's something I want to try and, I suppose, challenge you with now, Linda, is writing down, right, next week, when are you going to commit to actually going into the gym if that's something that you really want to do?
No, as I say, I've taken the membership out now, and I'm definitely going to start back at it next week, because I'm just looking for excuses every evening after work.
Yeah.
As you say, it's raining. It's it's stupid. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, it's not stupid. Everybody falls into the same place. If everybody gets pushed back by the same kind of things. But it's just about having that strong will to push forward regardless of it, if it's raining, especially now, because when it's coming towards winter and stuff, the weather is going to be shocking, like, so.
Oh, it is, and it's, you're looking for every excuse under the sun not to do it.
Yeah. And it's about building up that mental resilience as well. Because the more you do it, then you're back into a routine, you're going to start feeling better. When you start feeling better, you're going to make better choices around other areas of your life as well.
Yeah.
So like I'm like doing that cold showers now every morning outside, and it's horrible, but it is about building up that mental resilience as well. You may have to push yourself to do something that you don't necessarily want to do in that very moment.
I have a few stuff written down there, Steve.
Yeah, do you want to share?
Yeah, so just to have good self-confidence, self-esteem, having good structure to my day, to feel good about myself and my self-image, to start living life and stop like just existing, really, to be free from anxiety and depression, and just get back to the gym and just start living life and that type of stuff, like, you know.
Yeah. So I want you to try and make a commitment to yourself as well. I suppose asking yourself, when are you willing, I suppose, to take that first step of actually getting yourself back into the gym?
So I'm aiming for next Friday and Saturday, when I'll have money again, you know, because I've been out of work, you know, for almost 2 years, and I just got back there recently, like, so. Yeah, I definitely, I'm looking to commit there when next Friday or next weekend, when I'll have money and that type of stuff, and I'll be ready to get going, you know. So that's what I'm aiming for.
So what you should even do there now is write it down and even set an alarm on your phone. So set an alarm on your phone for the Thursday and write a note on it saying, right, going to the gym tomorrow, that you're going to go in on the Friday.
Yeah.
And just sticking to it now, because this is what catches a lot of people, is that they'll say right now, okay, this is what I want to do, and that's what I want to do, and I'm going to do this. But when it comes to it,
then they don't do it.
Then they don't do it. So it's about just reminding yourself of this very moment, Because if it's something you say you really want to do and you know it's going to help you, then it's just about really making that commitment to making it happen.
Yeah. So book in for next Friday.
That's it. Lock it in
Yeah, it's locked in.
and get it done. Cool. So hopefully that was helpful. So the next part I want to go into is the power of self-talk. And the power of self-talk, and I suppose affirmations as well, because this is something that's really powerful as well, is because what you tell yourself or what you hear most is what you start to believe, whether it's true or not. And what I mean by that is, like, a lot of times we can hold ourselves back by saying, oh, I'm not fit enough, I'm fat, I'm overweight, I'm not like those other fit people, I'm not a gym person. So they're all negative phrases, I suppose, that we can say towards ourselves. And when we say it a lot, we start to believe it. And like, even for me, I used to always tell myself, oh, I'm just too shy, I'm too quiet, I can't talk to people. And I've told myself that for years and years and years. So straight away, I used to always be the person that would sit back. I'd be even getting social anxiety so much. And it was because of my own self-talk that I kept telling myself over and over and over. And I never actually realized what I was doing to myself. And I've done that around lots of different things throughout the years. But I do always, like, over the years, talking to different people, I have heard a lot saying, oh, I'm just not a gym person. I just can't be fit. No, it just doesn't suit me. So once you start saying all these negative things, then of course you start to believe it. And what you believe, you act upon it. So if you keep telling yourself these things, you're always going to hold yourself back. But then if you're someone that, let's say, for example, you wanted to lose weight or you weren't fit or anything like that, if you keep telling yourself, oh, I'm fat, I'm fat, I'm fat, there's no way you're ever going to change. But if you start telling yourself, I'm fit, I'm healthy, I love the way I look in the mirror, if you start telling yourself those things, even if you don't believe it at the start, you will eventually believe it. And when you start to believe it, even just a fraction in yourself, you'll start to make more positive changes in yourself. So next little exercise I'm going to have for you, and it's just writing down, say, 3 to 5 powerful self-talk statements. So ideally trying to start it with I am. So it could be something like, I am successful, I am happy, I'm fit and healthy, I'm living my life to my full potential. I'd say, like, I'm a loving partner and father, I'm an inspiration, I am my own superhero. So let's see if you can come up with 3 to 5 different statements that you could start to use on a daily basis. And like, you don't even have to, well, ideally saying it out loud every day would be very beneficial, but even just kind of saying it internally to yourself. And
what did you do, Stephen, to, change your mindset? Did you sit down and kind of write stuff down and say it to yourself, or how would you do it?
So there was a lot of this kind of stuff. So I've been doing personal development stuff for the last, I'd say, at least 13 years. I hate reading, or I hate reading books, but I always listen to audiobooks. And I've went through a lot of different self-help books and stuff, and it's all this kind of stuff. And it's all about kind of recognizing how you see yourself, how you talk to yourself, and trying to change that. And also as well, how you look at situations and how you act in situations. So like, even for me, sharing my own story, I think you've kind of even heard my own more because in-depth version of it. But even for me to be able to share that took a long time for me to be, I suppose, to be able to be open and honest about my whole journey. And when I started to share about it, that was like my own, I suppose, internal healing as well.
Yeah.
So I think the more you can actually be open and honest about who you were and where you were, the easier it is to move forward. And I suppose the easier it is to actually accept who you are as well. Because that was another big one for me. I just absolutely hated who I was.
Yeah.
But this is just like a starting point, using those kind of self-talk statements. Like, ideally, if you had 3 to 5 of them powerful ones, and as well, when you're writing them down, you want to be looking for ones that make you feel uncomfortable. So for example, if it was someone that was really overweight, and if I asked them to write down, I am skinny, fit, and healthy, they might probably have a resistance against it because they'll feel that that's not me. And when you have that resistance against it, then you know you found something that's good, because you want to have something that you have to kind of push yourself to be able to kind of break through. Because we want to try and take you on that journey that eventually you do start to believe it. And then when you believe it, like I was saying, you do start to act upon it. Do you have a few of those written down?
Yeah, we do.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. It's up to, do you want to share a couple? It's up to you.
Yeah, I just wrote down, I am confident, I'm a good person, I can change, I can be disciplined. That's what I've got so far.
Cool. Perfect.
Okay, I've said I'm happy, I'm confident. I know I'm well able to do things that I put my mind to it. It's just I fall off a wagon then, and then it's trying to get back on it again is my downfall.
Yeah.
I suppose for me going into a gym, I like gyms and I'm confident when I go in there, but I suppose it's making me look silly, you know, if I go to pick something up and I can't lift it. My thing is what I suppose it's what other people think when you're at the gym. And I know a lot of people don't even look at one another at the gyms, but I suppose it's uncomfortable at times, you know, you're afraid to do something that you want to do in case you might drop something or look stupid. You know yourself, Stephen, when I was with you when I was doing the box jumps.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know, it's just a thing for making yourself look silly, I think, at the gym more so than anything else.
And do you actually think that other people are watching you, or do you think that's just
Probably
inside
not.
your own
It's just
head?
this, yeah, in my own head. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks that, but no, everyone's just, focused on themselves. Like,
Oh,
they're
they are.
thinking
Yeah, I
they're
know
looking at
that.
you,
It's
like,
just, yeah.
or you're
Yeah.
looking at them.
Yeah. No, majority of times people aren't even looking at you. And
Mhm.
even if you did pick up a weight and you dropped it, so what?
Yeah.
You know? It's this comes back to your own self-talk,
Mhm.
because you'd be telling yourself, oh, I don't want to lift that up there now because everybody's looking at me, or this or
Just
that,
you feel stupid. Yeah, you know.
and then what you're doing is you're creating anxiety for yourself, because when you have anxiety, what you're actually doing is creating a false reality. You're
Mhm.
telling yourself something that may or may not even happen. So
And then when I go in there, I do it. You know, I'll actually put my mind to it, then I'll do it. But I think this goes on in my head before I even go in the door to pick anything up.
yeah.
What if, you know?
So you could even write down a statement so for yourself saying that I'm going to be fully confident in the gym today, and I know nobody's watching me.
Yeah.
I'm just telling yourself that, and just go
Yeah.
in, you just do your thing, and you go back out again.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, cool.
and a lot of times, some of the load of lads inside anyway are too busy looking in the mirror at themselves. So
Yeah.
so they wouldn't even see you.
Or chatting on their phone.
Yeah, oh no, for sure. Cool, perfect. So, I want you to do is write down a list for yourself now here of what are you willing to do different now from today. As in, like, starting from today, this is obviously part of becoming your own superhero. I want you to put down stuff for what are you going to do for exercise, movement, even if it's just going for walks or runs or gym or whatever it's going to be. I want you to write down how are you going to improve on your eating habits, as in what are you going to do different, or what are you going to commit to giving up? What are you going to do for fun for yourself? How are you going to kind of show up, I suppose, for yourself, for your family, for your work? If you feel you need to improve on sleep, what are you going to do different there? So obviously, in order to boost motivation, it's all about trying to, like we said at the start, finding your why, and then putting the different steps in place that can initially kind of get you going to becoming your own superhero. And obviously, doing this stuff takes time, it takes persistence, and I suppose it takes accountability as well. So even having someone close to you that you can tell that what you're doing, as a way to having someone close to you that can help you and push forward and hold you accountable on your journey. So are you okay to write down a couple of things based on that?
Yeah.
Perfect. So I'll give you 2 minutes there just to write them down. Even if it's putting down, right, I'm going to get up in the morning an hour later, or I'm trying to get out for a walk during lunchtime. I'm going to try and eat a bit more veg, drink a bit more water, go to a couple of classes, go to the gym 3-4 days a week or whatever it is. It really comes back to thinking about what we did at the start about stepping into your superhero shoes and who you want to become and how you want to feel. You want another minute? Are you okay?
All good.
Yeah.
Cool. Perfect. Do you want to share one or two things? Or you can keep it yourself. It's completely up to you.
Yeah, you can share them, yeah.
Yeah, fire away.
I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week. Going to go on a nutritional plan. Make sure I get sufficient sleep every night. Going to go back to my NA and CA meetings and try and plan my weekend off for recreational activities.
Cool, perfect. That's the job. What about yourself, Linda? Do you want to share?
Okay, my plan is I'm going to try and get up earlier in the morning and go to the gym before work instead of, after work saying I'm too tired, I can't. Get it done before work and stop thinking what other people think and just go and do it.
Cool.
And I'm going to try and cut out some of the crap that I've gone back eating again.
Cool, good stuff. So obviously it's all good writing it down, but it doesn't mean anything unless you're actually willing to take action on it. Yeah. So, but having written it down will automatically kind of set it in your subconscious a bit because you've kind of seen yourself, you're writing it down, you're saying it to yourself. So that's the first step anyway, and definitely in moving forward. Cool. So before we move on to the next one, I just wanted to kind of check in and ask you what do you feel is going to be your biggest takeaway from what we've gone through so far?
I think just having a plan in place and keeping disciplined and just sticking to the plan, I suppose, and yeah, just that really I want to change. I will be getting a coach. I'll probably take you up, Stephen, at some point. But I'm going to the gym up the road for me. I'm just gonna get a few sessions in with him, and I'll probably come back to yourself. But yeah, just to have someone there to help me along the way as well. Just because it's going to be a new kind of lifestyle really for me.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I need to stay disciplined and motivated and that.
Yeah, I think it's trying to get back into kind of a habit as well. Bringing the gym and working out and eating healthy all into your day, and meal preps and that as well.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah,
and like it's not easy getting back on track.
It's not.
So it's all good saying, well, yeah, we'll do this and do that, but when it actually comes to it, that's the part that you really gotta stay committed to yourself. And push yourself to move forward, because that, like, if you think about how fast the last couple of weeks, couple of months, like, geez, we're nearly at Christmas now.
That's mad, I know.
And that's going to happen again. We'll be into next year before you know it.
Yeah, summer seems like yesterday. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. So what counts most is what you do between now, even in the next few months.
Yeah, waiting till next week is a famous quote. Yeah, I'll start next week.
Yeah, so it's just about pushing yourself now to keep going.
Yeah.
Perfect. Right, we're going to go into the nutrition side of things. And I think like when it comes to nutrition, a lot of people overcomplicate it and overthink it. And a lot of people think, right, I need to do this diet, or I need to do that diet, or do juicing, or there's so much stuff out there about nutrition. But like at the end of the day, it's just about focusing on doing your food in a way that suits you long term. That's just the way I like to look at it, and that's what I do for myself as well. And like I was saying a while ago, like I'll always like have a takeaway on the weekend. I always have a couple of drinks on the weekend. So for me, it's about creating that balance for yourself, but doing it in a way that's going to suit you, suit your lifestyle, and that you can do it long term. And when you look at nutrition, what we need to do is we need to understand that your body is basically like a machine, and our machine runs off specific things, which is going to be your macro and micronutrients. And once we kind of just focus on them, then everything else will just fall into place, because basically it's just whole foods we're looking at. It's foods that have been alive. So first of all is your macronutrients, which is going to be basically we're going through your macronutrients, which is your fats, your protein, your carbs. So fats is going to be like your different oils, so like stuff from fish, nuts, avocado. They're all going to have good fats in them. Then you have your protein, which is going to be like, again, your fish, your chicken, your white meats, your red meats, your eggs, legumes, stuff like that. So that's where you're going to get your protein from. And then your carbs will come from like rice, pasta, potato, stuff like that. And then your micronutrients, which is all your vitamins and minerals, will come from fruits and veg. So as long as you have a variety of those different things in your diet, it doesn't really matter what you have for breakfast, lunch, dinner. The main thing is that you're getting the goodness into your body every day. And you don't really have to have some crazy meal plan or follow some crazy diet or anything like that. When you kind of look at your plate, it's about saying, right, is there a bit of protein on there? Is there some good carbs? And do I have some sort of micronutrients, so like some veg or some salad or something like that? So that's all it really comes down to. And just as an example, like a good breakfast could be something like having an omelet, just because it's easy to get your protein from the eggs, and then you could chop up some, say, tomatoes and cucumber and peppers and stuff, and make like an omelet or something. And so you're trying to get the goodness in that way. Lunch and dinner, then it's kind of looking at, again, the same thing, looking at what bit of protein have you got, what good carbs have you got. So you could have a bit of rice with it, a bit of pasta, whatever, bit of potato, whatever it is, or you could just have a load of veg with it, or make up a salad. So again, it's looking at live foods. It's not necessarily saying, right, I have to eat quinoa for breakfast, and I have to have this green juice then for my lunch. And it's the main thing is you're getting goodness in every day, and that's all it really comes down to. Because the more goodness you go in, the better your health is going to be. Now, obviously, it depends on what your goals are. If your goal is to lose weight, tone up and stuff like that, then obviously we need to be looking at the calorie consumption of your food then as well. And the calories is basically the energy. So the energy related to the food. So just say, for example, if your maintenance calories was 2,000 calories, so that means your body would burn 2,000 calories every day. And if you eat more than 2,000 calories, you're going to put on weight, put on body fat. That's really what it's going to come down to. If you eat less than 2,000 calories, you're going to lose weight, drop body fat. That's what all it comes down to. But where I think a lot of people get caught up in this is they might say, but I'm eating really healthy and my weight's still going up. So you could, let's say for an apple has like 100 calories. If your maintenance was 2,000 calories, and if you ate 22 apples a day, you're going to put on weight, because the amount of calories altogether is more than what you're burning every day. So it doesn't matter if you're eating healthy or not. The calorie consumption when it comes to weight loss needs to be either below it to lose weight or above it to put on weight. But obviously we want to try and get as much whole foods in as possible. And like I like to focus on, say, the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, make sure you're eating lots of clean, healthy foods. And then the other 20% of the time, right, I want to have a takeaway every now and then. I want to have a pizza every now and then. So it's not saying you have to give up stuff you enjoy. It's just making sure you're getting enough of the good stuff in as well. And a simple way then as well is that, let's just say, for example, you wanted to have a takeaway on the weekend, but your goal was to lose weight or drop body fat. What you do is you'd factor in how many calories are related to that takeaway you're going to have, say, next weekend. Like you can use MyFitnessPal or whatever. Let's say you were going to get a Chinese, look up the Chinese menu, see what's there, put that into MyFitnessPal. And you could be even doing this on a Monday and you go, oh my God, there's 2,000 calories just in that one meal. So what you do then throughout the week is you aim to burn off the excess 2,000 calories that you'd be having. So that when you go to have it on the weekend, that you're actually not going backwards, that you've actually even burnt it off before you even have it. So what I want you to do now is, if you feel that you need to improve your eating habits, I want you to kind of write down some of the things that, let's say, you're going to have for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner, for snacks. So just come up with a couple of ideas, things that you like, things that you enjoy. There's no point in writing down something that you don't like, because you don't want to force yourself eating stuff you don't really enjoy, because then it's not going to be something that's sustainable long term. And like, even if you're already eating healthy, it could be right, oh, do you know what? My portion sizes maybe are a little bit big. I need to cut back on that a small bit. The amount of people I've kind of spoke to saying, oh yeah, no, but I have a great dinner, and it turns out like their dinner is like 3 dinners the size of it. So it could be just kind of cutting back your portion sizes a bit. And even asking yourself as well, okay, cool, like if you think back the last couple of days, how much fruit and veg have you actually eaten? And if you haven't really been eating much, then you could be just looking at, right, you know what, I'll make up, say, a green smoothie. And just throwing a load of veg in there, throw some fruit in there, blend it up, drink it back. It's just a simple way to get a lot of goodness into you as well. For example, for me, what I'm having for breakfast at the moment, I'm making like a pancake out of oats and eggs. I'm putting like 50 grams of oats into a bowl. I put 3 eggs in there, whisk it up, put it onto a pan, fry it up. I slice half a banana, I put that onto it as well, and I fry that up, and then I have like a big handful of blueberries with it. So again, getting some protein from the eggs, getting some good carbs from the oats, and then there's a bit of banana inside there as well, and then obviously you're getting some goodness from the blueberries as well. So just doing little things like that. And there's mountains of recipes and everything and that you can find online. So, but at the end of the day, you don't have to overcomplicate things.
Yeah, I actually found some good meal prep pages on TikTok, Stephen. You know, like really tasty looking stuff, like, you know, because like to be in the past, like it really wrecked me head, this, you know, nutrition. Like I didn't know. I used to overthink it, like, you know, what'll I have for lunch, breakfast, dinner, like, you know. But I think the way for me to, you know, stay on top of it would be to start meal prepping, you know.
Yeah, and like when you do meal prep as well, just keep it simple. Get some Tupperware, go to the butcher's, whatever, buy a big pack of chicken fillets, cook 4 or 5 of them up in one go.
Yeah.
Then make a big thing of rice again.
Yeah.
Put a bit of rice into it. Some veg, whatever you want to do. Could be broccoli, chop up tomatoes.
Seasoning is the key there, isn't it?
What's that?
Some good seasoning, like for flavor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Try, like I'm very bland when it comes to food. I eat the same thing every single day.
Yeah.
My missus won't even let me cook. But no, it's about keeping it. Like if you enjoy cooking, yeah, then 100% go looking for these different recipes and try different things. But at the end of the day, it's just about trying to get some good, healthy stuff into you.
Yeah. No, it's just like if you're working all day and then you have to think about, you know, going downstairs and cook, and then like I think if you have it prepared, like that's so much better. I think that would just work better for me, like, you know.
Yeah. Oh no, 100. Well, again, it comes back to what's going to work for you and what's going to be sustainable for you. I know a few lads that every Sunday they'll spend an hour cooking, and they'll batch up everything, bang it into the freezer, that they have it all week, take it out from the day before for the next day, let it thaw. So it's just there all the time. Like they even, like in Lidl now, they even have those like fit meals.
Yeah, that's what all I eat at the moment. Like even though I'm not kind of watching my calories or anything.
Yeah. But it's just a simple. It's like there's loads of meals like that out there. I think they're only like £4 or something. You get a meal, there's like high protein, low calories, and there's a few different varieties there as well. So it is about keeping it simple for yourself. Then obviously if you want to work out your calories, a simple way to do that. Stop share. This. This. So there's a website called calculator.net. I'm just going to share my screen here now again. This is the simplest way to work out your calories. Can you see that there on the screen? Calculator.net.
Yeah.
Cool. So all you do is go calculator.net, and then you come to the fitness and health calculators. You got BMR. This is your basal metabolic rate. So BMR is basically the amount of calories you burn per day without doing anything at all. You just woke up, lay in bed all day, you'd be burning that many calories. And all you do is pop it in age. So it's, let's say, for example, it's there as 25, male, 180, 60 kg. So when you press calculate, it automatically calculates it here. And then you look at the amount of activity levels. So these numbers aren't going to be exact. So if you wanted to drop weight or drop body fat, whatever, what you do is you look at your BMR and look down below, like it's even giving you examples here. So for sedentary, you're burning about 1900. So if you started off a little bit lower than that, say 1800, if this was your measurements here, so the most you want to drop underneath these numbers here is 30%. You wouldn't want to drop any more than that. So let's just say, for example, this person had a sedentary lifestyle, they're burning about 1900, they really wanted to lose weight, drop body fat. So we'd say to them, like, you know what, let's start you off on 1800 calories. And what they do is they track that for maybe a couple of weeks. If their weight isn't moving, then we'll drop it to say 1700 calories. But if their weight is moving at the 1800 calories, we'll stay at that until they hit a bit of a plateau, and then we'll reduce their calories again. And you can see it there as well. If someone was training 4 or 5 times a week, right? It's obviously a bit higher because they're more active, they're burning more calories. And then again, we just reduce that number, that 2,350, by say 20 to 30%. And that just kind of gives us a starting point anyway. And then it just comes back to tracking it then every week. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's just a simple way to do it. But like I said, you don't have to have the exact number. Like you'll never know the exact number because obviously you're burning calories while you're walking around. Or if you're someone that fidgets, you could actually burn even more calories.
So the BMR, I just did it there, Stephen, and it comes up as 1,843. Is that to lose weight or to stay the same weight?
So the BMR, so that would basically be telling us that's how many calories you burn per day without doing anything.
Right.
So then you take into account your activity level. So if you're focused on, say, if you were getting your steps in, and if you were getting 10,000 steps a day, that's roughly 500 calories. So then you'd increase that 1900 by an extra 5, so about 2,400. So that would be your maintenance then. And then what you do is reduce that number then by say 20 to 30%.
20 to 30 to lose weight then for that, is it?
So if it was 1900 for you, and let's say if you're not even doing any activity at all, you're just at home, then what you would do is you'd probably start down on say 1800.
Right.
And then the other side to that as well is you want to make sure that your protein levels are up. And when you look at protein, what you do is you look at your body weight in kilos and double that number. So if you're 80 kilos, you aim for about 160 grams of protein a day.
Yeah.
And that's all it comes down to then. So you're in the calorie deficit, you're choosing healthier foods 80% of the time, you're hitting your protein target every day, then there's no reason why you shouldn't be going in the direction you want to go. And that comes the same for if you wanted to put on weight. You'd go, say, 10, 20% above the number. And you'd still reach your protein targets, and you'd still focus on eating the healthier foods and stuff.
Cool.
Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I just think I'm waffling on and I'm like, do I even make sense?
I think that FitnessPal is actually a great. When I was going to, I think it's ideal for tracking your foods.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And even when you're tracking your food, if you're like me and eat the same thing all the time, you just track it for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
track your progress, make sure that you are making progress, and then you just continue doing what you're doing. Because if you're eating the same thing every day, then obviously you'll start to recognize the portion size and stuff. It'll be a bit easier to stay on track.
Yeah,
Yeah, my fitness pal is spot on for that. Cool. So just to kind of wrap it up and kind of review kind of what we went through, and obviously when we're talking about motivation, that's kind of achieved once you have a burning desire to want more, and you have that vision, and you understand why you're doing what you do. Because if you don't really understand why you're doing what you're doing, it's very hard to keep it up. And to be honest, I lose motivation at time with my training in the gym, and to be honest, I just get bored of it. So I'll kind of put together like a plan for myself, and I kind of stick with that maybe 6-8 weeks, and then once I find that I start losing motivation on it, I just completely change it up and I focus on something else, and that's what kind of keeps me going. So it's good to kind of set yourself different challenges and know that the plan that you have put in your place for yourself, that doesn't necessarily have to stick with that forever. You can chop and change it whenever you want. You can start to focus on different things, whether it's getting stronger, whether it's getting fitter, whether it's getting out, just going running, whatever you want to do. It's really down to you. And for me, I find it's good challenging myself in different ways. So sometimes I just want to try and get really strong. Other times then I want to try and really build up my fitness levels. At the moment now, I'm trying to get a lot better at jiu-jitsu. So I'm doing that a few more days a week. Then as well, kind of we were saying as well that if you're kind of in that kind of frustrated place and you're kind of lacking energy and everything, so instead of kind of putting the resistance against it, that we can kind of take that bit of a step back, and it'll give us a better look at our situation and allow us then to actually make better choices then moving forward. We went through looking at your own superhero, kind of looking at their traits, asking ourselves what it is that we would need to do in order to step into their shoes. Other part then we kind of went through was the positive self-talk, because obviously we're saying there is that the more you tell yourself something, then the more you will start to believe it and the more you'll start to act upon it. And then we kind of just finishing up there about the nutrition and knowing that you don't have to complicate nutrition. It's just about eating real whole foods, keeping your protein up and keeping your calories either below where you need to be or above where you need to be, depending on if you want to lose weight or gain weight. So out of that part, what do you feel stood out for you the most? Was there anything about the nutrition there that you feel that you need to be doing more of or less of? Or
I think I'm okay with my nutrition. It's getting back working out again and getting back into, as you say, putting the challenge there for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, that's all it comes down to, just challenging yourself, going towards that challenge. Once you start getting towards where you want to be, then resetting your goals for yourself.
Because I find even the days that you don't want to go to the gym, when you do go, you feel so much better in yourself when you come home. You're not sitting there beating yourself up.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you'll always feel good after it.
Yeah.
That's what I keep telling myself about the showers, the cold showers and doing outside. Because I do feel amazing after it, but I absolutely hate cold water.
You're on your own with that one anyway.
I know. I'm trying to convince a few people to do it, but
not a hope.
Cool. So to finish up, do you guys have any questions at all? Anything you want to ask me?
I was just going to say, actually, Stephen, yeah. So, like, when you started out in your journey, like, how long do you think it took for you to start feeling really good about your new kind of way of life, and how much better did you feel, you know, after you kind of started, like, this kind of going to the gym, you know, and how did you make it sustainable, like, and all that type of stuff, like?
So for me, well, like I said, when I first started off, that was back when I was living over in Tenerife. And the key thing for me is it allowed me to feel like I was able to let go of all the anger, frustration, everything that had built up inside of me. Because I was like, at that time as well, I was actually in an abusive relationship. And it was really, really tough going. And you probably don't hear many lads talking about being in an abusive relationship, but it just got so bad, and that's what kind of led me towards being suicidal and stuff. So when I was in the gym, I just felt alive again. I
Mm.
just felt like I had something. And it took me ages to see physical changes in myself. And that was because I was still drinking all the time. I was still living off fast food and stuff. So the changes with food came later on.
Yeah.
The start, it was just getting in, getting moving.
Oh,
But
so
that's
all
what
that
made me
super
feel
hand
good.
on you there without the drink then and all that type of stuff.
Yes.
Starting
Yeah, so I just kind of slowly cut back on drinking. At the time I smoked as well. I gave up smoking fags.
Mm.
So I just slowly started making changes, and then I moved back home from living in Tenerife, and straight away I just joined the gym,
Mm.
and I just kind of got back into my own life, my usual lifestyle. I was working, going to the gym every evening. I was probably training, could be 6 days a week.
Did you have a coach?
No, so it was everything. I hadn't a clue what I was doing in the gym. I was just going in. I'd see other people doing something. I go, yeah, I'll try that.
Mm.
So that's all I did, and sure, that was 20 odd years ago. So it's been a while.
Mm.
But again, it just comes back to taking those steps and getting yourself doing the things you know is going to help you.
Yeah.
And once you do them and you repeat them over and over, you can't help but feel better.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's ups and downs in your journey as well. But when you do have these ups and downs, it's about recognizing them and not letting them completely overtake you and dampen your motivation again and pull you right back down.
Mm.
You need to be able to stop and say, okay, cool, I'm feeling frustrated, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that. I need to be able to take a bit of a step back, review everything again, right? Ask myself, what other changes do I need to make? And then you just pick up and start again.
Mm.
But it's about committing to the process. I suppose that will come back to another thing about your goals, saying, right, I want to at least stick to this for the next 6 months, next year, because you need to start developing those habits.
Yeah.
And when you develop the habits, it's so much easier to keep it going. Like I said there, I've been doing the same thing for the last 20 years. So it's just about when you kind of get into that flow and you start feeling good, then it's so much easier to keep going with it.
Yeah.
And even for me, like I have to be going training, because I know if I skip a couple of weeks, I'll feel shit, and I'll start to lose motivation and everything. So for me, I have to keep it up ongoing. Like even when I'm on holidays, I'll find a gym. I'll try and do something.
Would you? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I have to be doing something. Because if I'm like from the holidays, I know I'll be eating a lot more shitty food. I know I'll be drinking a lot more. And if I don't do some sort of training, I know I'm just going to start kind of losing motivation. I'm going to find it hard to get going again, just the same as anybody else. So I need to keep tipping over, keep moving forward, and keep pushing myself.
Cool.
So hopefully that was helpful for you guys.
Yeah, definitely.
And that you got something from it. And the most important part now is the things that you did write down, is that you stay committed to it. And you keep yourself moving forward. And you'll both be in the gym then next week.
We will be.
Yeah.
Bag packed later for tomorrow.
That's it. All right, cool. If you have any other questions, let me know. If not, then we'll wrap up from here.
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
That's
okay, perfect.
Thanks a million.
Thanks for jumping on.
Cheers. Appreciate it.
No bother. Go on.
Good luck
Take
with
care.
everything.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
Take care.